Day 24 of the Gratitude Story Project. Let's hear it for the epic roomies. The one you meet on Craigslist, your sibling, your best friend, your partner, your pet. Were you a true millennial if you didn't have roommates in your 20s? Not all of them are the best or stick around forever, but when you strike gold and find roomies and friendship, there's just too many stories there that you can't not talk about it. More than making cost of living bearable, the wonderful roommates in this story were witnesses to my life. The first roommate I really bonded with was Erin. Thank God she reached out to me on Facebook the day I was accepted at BGSU, though she didn't know that at the time. Though not my first cross-country move, it was my first time living off campus, and she made that learning curve of finding an apartment, signing a lease, even utilities completely manageable. Because, well, she did all of it, and I'm still grateful to her for that now that I'm the one setting all that stuff up with every move. Living together shaped our experience of grad school. From study parties in the living room on our crappy Craigslist couches to sitting with each other through heartbreak or pulling classic all-nighters. Okay, that was just me. But we developed an intricate set of inside jokes and communication through knowing looks that made me feel seen. It was just fun. Erin, thanks for taking the first step in our friendship just by sitting in my doorway catching up and doing our first ever 5K together. And for reading between the lines to reach out from the group chat just to check in. Grad school wouldn't have been the same without you, and I'm so glad that we're still friends today. But my first year and a half in San Diego was a rough, weird time. One of my favorite people on this planet and ray of human sunshine in my life, Jarvis, made it easier. Hollering, "Jarvis!" to a resounding, "Schultz!" from upstairs was my favorite part of coming home from work. Jarvis, whether you were lovingly giving me shit about eating another bag of Trader Joe's orange chicken, or story time leaning across the hallway to talk and hang out, or laughing hysterically with the rest of our roommates, you made leaving that place so hard. But for the first time, changing addresses and not living together anymore didn't mean a drastic shift in our friendship. From Camino Chiapas to living in tiny studios to your big job in Seattle and when I left for Colorado, I'm grateful and amazed at the effort we continue to put into our friendship. It's not just crashing on my terrible futon after a raucous New Year's Eve, or catching up every time you visited San Diego. It's the phone calls and FaceTimes in between. You're one of my favorite people to talk to because you just get it. You're one of the rare people that I can genuinely say we both push each other to be better. I mean, I'm only working out because you're still going to therapy. You're also one of the few straight dudes that I can actually be friends with, and who still has the best way of hyping me up. I treasure that we talk about some of the harder things we don't like admitting to ourselves. Because we'll be there to say, "You're beautiful and amazing. You can handle this. Come on, stud." I feel lucky for knowing you. Thanks for gassing me up, reminding me to love myself first, to never give up, don't waste time on stupid boys, and for sharing your spreadsheet with me. You know the one. Love you, Jarvis. Graduate so we can both be WW alum! Now, while a quality yell for "Jarvis" is irreplaceable, it was quite a bit of fun shrieking "Dina" this last year. There's a special type of intimacy you experience with roommates, especially when you're single, new to a city, and during a global pandemic. It's a lot of quality time with a stranger, with quite a bit of trust to get to know each other pretty quickly. Dina moved in August 2020, middle of the pandemic, and a week later I was single. During our 6 months together, we cursed the patriarchy, binge-watched Criminal Minds and SVU, got drunk on gin and tonics the night of the election and Georgia's runoff, and laughed during pumpkin photo shoots in a drive-through comedy show. We made the best with what we could during the pandemic, as far as roommate adventures go. Dina, thanks for being my ride or die for a fleeting but important chapter, and for making Denver a better place for families and kiddos, you badass social worker and human. The next person who gets to date or live with you will be so freaking lucky, and hopefully loves their family and is as photogenic as you. Finding someone to follow Dina, especially since we're still in a pandemic, was pretty tough. But there must be some magic to the process because it brought my current roommate and now dear friend Alyssa into this home. Alyssa, human! You've brought an incomprehensible amount of empathy, fierce queerness, generosity, and brilliant PowerPoints into my life. You also brought Cedar, the best executive producer for this project, Cuddle Buddy, Schnookums, Little Prince, and Heartbreaker. Cedar, the star of my entire camera roll, a cat, and a son only a heartless fool wouldn't die for. In fact, he's interrupting this recording right now. Your grand scheme to make both of you become an instrumental part of my world in a short few months has worked. And I'm already excited and mad for the day you embark on your next great perhaps. I will never forget the warmth and love I felt walking out of my room to find a bottle of apple cider, a red velvet cupcake, wannabe daffodils, and materials for s'mores with our awesome fireplace roaring. I also can't think of another friend who organized an entire day tailored to my interests and need for planning, like your golden day. My heart and brain and laughter is so full when I'm around you. You already know this, but I want to say it again. Being in a global pandemic, with most of my friends far away, you made me feel so seen and cared for, which is incredible. Thank you for also trusting me through some pretty major life transitions. We both know how hard it is to ask for help, so it means the world when we have our couch and kitchen talks about the coolest shit. I love that I can't predict where our Sunday night conversations will roam, from why we've distanced ourselves from white supremacy conversations in our conservative families, or what it means to be in a romantic relationship. You're a force to be reckoned with, and I'm so excited to hype up your hair, pronouns, personal transformation, and for us to just be trees together. I don't want to think about you two leaving, but thank you for starting the Friday night movie, or long drives, or spontaneous hiking and fergalicious karaoke traditions with Kartik and Nat, too. You introduced another wonderful Colorado friend into my life. Kartik, you just have a way of making the best out of any situation, but especially random evenings. Like when we drove up to the Pooter on a Friday night with nothing but tacos and a sunset, then when you let Alyssa and me scream out the window in delight at the moose. Your hilarious gifts and sharp memory for the details will keep me in awe and laughing. Alyssa, we adore making fun of you, and it won't be the same with you around. Whatever you decide to do for your next chapter, we'll be here to cheer you on and welcome you when you're ready to return to the best state. I can't wait to see you change the world, and for us to have as many adventures as possible before you depart, while we're still roomies. Love you to the moon and back.